Meteorologist Tuttle here. For years, I've been recommending Ferguson Roof Systems to homeowners across Oklahoma. So when Mother Nature struck my house, it was an easy call to make. There's no one I would trust more than Ferguson Roof Systems for my home's roof. Since 1977, Ferguson has led the industry with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and lifetime warranties. Plus, they'll even deal with the insurance companies so you don't have to. So when Mother Nature strikes, make your first call to Ferguson Roof Systems.
Hey everyone, I know it's a bit late for our lunch. I normally do them around noon, but I had some errands to run, so I couldn't quite make it. So here I am, and I had no gas. Then I stopped for gas, and the post office was closed. I had to go drop something off, and anyway, so we're back. I had a just quick look at the weather anyway, so I did all that. So I got a fresh update here for you to see if anything has changed in our forecast as far as timing is concerned or amounts or anything like that. So thanks for joining in on your favorite platform. Again, thank you also for all of you that have come out to subscribe to join me going forward on our new endeavor of a private weather operations. In other words, no more just free public weather information from AT's Weather, bringing all of you guys into a smaller community, and we're going to be very, very intimate in a good way, in a nice way. But what we're going to do it's probably going to be around the 1st of March is when I flip the switch. So I'm getting everything done, the background, the website, all that kind of stuff. So that's the place we're going, and I've had a lot of support from you guys. I mean, you've come out and drove, so I appreciate that. And I've had a few, run their mouth on the way out the door. And honestly, I don't care. You can run your mouth. Is this going to change anything? Does it make you feel better about yourself? Okay, fine, whatever. It says nothing to me, so you're just wasting your air, your hot air at that. But the rest of you folks want to stick around, let's do it. Let's take this on a whole nother level, doing something that's never been done before from a internet meteorologist, a solo internet meteorologist, the very first one. How about that? You guys are watching the OG. So I'm going to make another change. The industry's going, what? You can't do that. Weather's free. You can't charge for weather. Sure can. About to find out, aren't we? So anyway, but you guys recognize the value, and that's why. If there's no value in what you're getting, no, I would expect you to pay or follow anything anyway. So it's a win-win for everybody that joins us moving forward. And for those that can't, I get it. And those that don't want to, that's fine too. I've enjoyed the last 15 years of serving you, so I hope that was helpful and it saved your life one day. I hope it made your change of plans, work out for you. I mean, whatever it took. I hope I made a positive impact in your life. And I'm going to keep doing it, but we're just going to do it in a little smaller group as a result. So, okay, let's get on with the program, shall we? And by the way, you can do any of that. I got 1,000 posts on Facebook. You can find the link to subscribe. And then also on my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. So here's a look outside. Of course, we got the clouds already starting to build. We do have some instability moving through. That's generating the clouds. And eventually that instability will be generating the precipitation. That'll be affecting us as we head into tonight and for tomorrow. So yes, the winter storm is still on the way. But man, look at that temperature. Here, let me blow it up for you. 46 degrees. That's not a misprint. That's balmy. Downright hot out there. I'm going to take this hoodie off. I don't know why I'm wearing a hoodie today. But you've got lots of 40s out there across the state, some 50s down south. You do have a few 30s still hanging in there, north and east. And this is the warmest you're going to see until next Saturday. Are you ready for that? So that's a good solid 5 days away. All right, now here is a look at the winter storm warning that is in effect now from the National Weather Service across a good area of Kansas, right here in Missouri, even Arkansas and Oklahoma, and also a winter weather advisory surrounds that. So what's the difference? Basically just amounts. The more snow, the more ice you get, the higher the threat level you're in. Therefore, you go from an advisory, which is a light dusting, nuisance, to, okay, it's going to be a problem, for various reasons. Now, other than that, we do have the cold. And I posted this on there as a map to get you guys attention for those that were under a rock and really didn't want to pay attention when I said minus 47 degrees. Yeah, we got this. So this is what I'm talking about. And these are our departures from normal. In other words, we're going to be about 50 degrees below where we normally would be this time of the year. Now that is a cold front. So that's our coldest air of the season. You can see how that kind of settles here across the plains and the central part of the country through Friday. All right, and then it starts to kind of moderate down across the southeast for Saturday, and there's Sunday. And look at that heat wave, by the way, up Monday and Tuesday of next week, and more heat. Where's all the cold air? At the end of February, we get a little treat. Man, and then here's a little shove of some cold air there for the eastern part of the country for the first week of March. Ooh, we got a little taste of it here in Oklahoma. So we're not quite done with the cold, but we are going to have these wild temperature swings as a result. So speaking of wild temperature swings, let's talk about what we got coming up here for us today. Again, we're going to be in the 40s and 50s this afternoon, so looking really good. Okay, so here comes that cold air. So this is midnight. There's this 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so what's changed in the data, and I'm not surprised, it's the models are finally catching up to the cold front, moving a little bit quicker and sagging to the south just a little bit earlier. And that's fine, I expected that. So, but you can see temperatures falling off from near freezing to quickly below into the 20s and teens by the time you head into the panhandle. And that's at 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Here's 7. So when you're out and about, heading your commute, everything, I think I mentioned this earlier, from right around Muskogee to Paoli Falls Valley, I think just right around the Lawton area, just south of you guys, between there and Wichita Falls will be where the front kind of pretty much puts the brakes on for a brief second, and everything along and behind that line is where you're going to have your frozen precipitation for tomorrow morning. So just make sure you prepare accordingly. If you are going to have to be going out, it is going to be a messy, icy commute. Here's a look at lunchtime tomorrow. We actually cool down further, so we're 22 in Oklahoma City, 18 Stillwater. So this is going to be a very hard freeze. I mean, super hard. So going to the afternoon, it gets even colder. There's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we are at 17 degrees in Oklahoma City. 10 in Enid. We'll probably be dipping into some single digits up here. There's 7 right along the Kansas state border. And of course, in Kansas, you guys will be full-fledged single digits. And as we head on into Wednesday, let's go to the morning hours. Model still loving the single digits across the bulk of Oklahoma. Some teens down to the south and east. Otherwise, this little line right here is the below freezing line, and that covers a good chunk of northern and northwest Oklahoma to the panhandle, of course, all of Kansas. And then by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to rebound you, hopefully, if things go well, into the low teens. That's sad when you say, hopefully, we'll rebound to the low teens. That's going to be a very cold day. And then finally, repeat again for Thursday morning, here 6 a.m., right around the goose egg and points below. Once you get north of I-40, south of I-40, all into the single digits. Even way down there into Dallas, you guys are down into the cold teens. Looks like low right around 14 degrees by the time you head toward downtown. Okay, so let's go on into Thursday afternoon. We're going to have a balmy 18 degrees in Oklahoma City, 13 in Bartlesville. So another cold day for Thursday. Rinse, repeat for Friday morning, back into the single digits and teens across Oklahoma. So things are not improving all that fast. And then we're going to get you above freezing here in a second. Where are we going to have it? Will be Friday afternoon. Let's take a look. Nope, not going to be Friday afternoon. We're still stuck into the 20s across most of the state. There are going to be some hints. We might get above freezing down across some of our southern or western counties. Otherwise, as we head into Saturday, here we go. There's Saturday afternoon, and now we're back into the 40s statewide. Some 30s still hanging on across the northeast, but otherwise looking pretty good as we thaw out. So that's the big change you're going to notice, other than the precipitation we're going to talk about here in a second, is the temperatures. And as we mentioned, with the wind kicking in, we're going to have wind chill values that are well below zero. So here's an example for Tuesday evening. We have wind chill values below zero, again, in that purple area and below. So now we're into the 6 a.m. time frame, and you've got wind chill values here minus 20 to minus 25 here in northwest Oklahoma. Same thing for Kansas, a lot of minus 25 degree wind chills. Tomorrow afternoon, it doesn't really get that much better. It'll still feel like we're below zero across most of the state during the day on Wednesday. Thursday, same thing. We'll start you off in minus teens, and then for the afternoon, wind chill values will let up a little bit to feel more like the single digits. So it's brutal. You do not want to be outdoors in this kind of weather. We're not made for that down here. So make sure you bundle up. Let's take a look at the latest model data as far as the animation of the radar is concerned. And we'll start to see that breakout of precipitation right around 3 o'clock in the morning. Look at it just blossom right here over central Oklahoma. And so when you look at a point forecast sounding for this, of course, we're in the cold frontal zone. We do have a little bit of a warm layer just up above it. And most of the lift is down here in the lower levels, so it's not in the snow growth layer, which is up here. So it means it's not a big snow-making lift, dynamic lift in the atmosphere. It's more of a drizzle, occasional sleet lift, and so that's what the model says, freezing rain and drizzle with that. So that's why we're going to get that ice that develops, and that's indicated here by the pink. Now, as we go through time, of course, that ice will blow up there. There will be some green, where temperatures are above freezing by a few degrees for the rest of the morning. But by 4 and 5, and 6 o'clock in the morning, you see it's already starting to be an icy commute. I had worried about that in my reservations the last few days. I said, the models aren't starting until right about 7, and I was like, I don't know. They like to come in a little earlier, and sure enough, as we get closer to the event, they are bumping up the time frame by a few hours. All right, so there's 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, so you can still see there's ice, baby, all the way down. This whole area, this is nothing but ice. The skating rink by now, 7 o'clock in the morning, this is all ice skating. Auto hockey, so you don't want to be out there if you don't have to be. All right, so there's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Yeah, there's probably a lot of places shut down, schools, businesses, whatever it may be. There's 9, there's 10, there's 11. You will notice, though, some heavy snow. This little band right here that's moving in. Now it's moving to the south like this. Now it's all snow in Kansas. You guys have all snow. Same thing for Missouri. But you can see that snow band does progress southward during the afternoon. So here's 2 o'clock on Tuesday. You've got a nice little heavy snow band moving through Oklahoma City that will provide us a brief 1/2 to 1 inch of snow, it looks like. Otherwise, still good snows in Tulsa. Otherwise, that icy mix now moving into southeast Oklahoma for the afternoon. All right, so you guys are going to go from your cold rain to also sleet and freezing rain, and that will also coat everything. As we push this through forward in time, by 8 o'clock in the evening, we finally start to move the snow out of Oklahoma City, and also in Tulsa, start to wind down by 10 o'clock, and then it's all moving out of the state as we head to the midnight hour. And then that's pretty much it for the significant measurable snow. Sometimes you get occasional flurry after that, but that's pretty much it. Now, we had talked about why we're going to have lighter amounts of precipitation was because of any dry air. All right, so I was looking at this, one of our short-term models here that we use for that. Now, where you see the blue right here, this is where you're going to have a lot of mid-level moisture. So that allows that snow to happen sooner and to stick and to come down. All right, so this goes through the morning hours. So if you'll notice, we are a lack of that blue or even green for the most part. We got a lot of brown. In other words, that's a dry air. That's 31% humidity. So that's why it's a lot less precipitation across the body of Oklahoma versus, say, the northern, northeastern counties. So here's by lunchtime. You can see how we're starting to kind of get more of that green starting to kind of infiltrate more in this quadrant of the state, and we get the little band that comes in here that does kind of save us, provide us a little bit better coverage for the snow that will move through. So there you go. We do overcome the dry air. So it's not like we're not going to get anything. We are. It's a winter storm. It's just we're not going to get hammered like those folks that get that little blue shaded region that we're not going to get. So just a little bit different there in the data. I just want to show you that's the very simplistic way that I can present that to you as to why that changes there. Okay, so when it comes down to precipitation, we're still looking at light stuff. This is about at 0.2 of an inch. There may be pockets of 3 here and there, especially where you get just cold rain. But up here in the blue, that's about a 1/2 inch or more. Now, when it comes to snow, on an average, you multiply by 10. Okay, so that means Ponca City be about 5 inches, Tulsa about 5 inches, Muskogee about 4 inches, Bartlesville 7 inches. So that's the general rule of thumb. That can change depending on the snow ratio. Snow ratio, as you get further to the north into the colder, drier air, it goes up. So it means you can get a little bit better snow. In other words, you can do like a 12 instead of a 10 factor, multiplication factor, you can do like a 12. But I think in Oklahoma, 10 to 1's good. How much for ice? Well, enough to cause, like I said, travel problems all across this area here and down in here. So finally, we got a good short range output here from the model data showing the accumulation anywhere from a few hundredths to a couple of tenths over the body of Oklahoma. And I had mentioned this the last couple of days. Here and here, there are some hints that you may get more than that, like about 3/10. Possibly some little isolated areas, maybe 0.35, something like that. And the reason why that's important is because once you get around 3/10 or more, you can start to get a little more too much weight on some of those power lines. You can end up with some power outages. And if there's any wind at all, that kind of adds insult to injury. So you might get some sporadic power outages right here across eastern Oklahoma along I-40 out toward, say, from closer to the Fort Smith area and then back south and east from there. So just kind of heads up, if you live in that area, you might want to make sure your generators are up and running. Call Nathan Snyder Electric if you don't have one. He'll come out there and give you one, install one today. All right, so here's a look at the snowfall amounts. If you do take a look here, we have the hard line in the sand. So it is what it is. That means there's not going to be a whole lot of snow expected. Now the map doesn't show anything down here, but you'll probably at least get a flurry or two. But as far as anything significantly measurable, the gradient's pretty stout. But anyway, it looks like Enid, Stillwater, and Muskogee seems to be the good hard line in the sand, and it increases dramatically as you go county by county up to the north and east. And I've seen Tulsa float around from 2.5 inches to 6 inches, averaging out around 3. Now the latest data got it to right around 4. It's not a bad average. And again, but this is a big gradient. Here on the south side of Tulsa, you're looking at maybe 2 to 3 inches of snow. But on the north side of Tulsa County, you're up here around the 7-inch range. So that's a pretty good range for you guys. Oklahoma City, Edmond, we're probably maybe, if we're lucky, 1 inch and a half, maybe 2. Otherwise, on the south side around Norman, you're looking at a dusting to 1/2 inch. So it does make a big difference in a very small geographical distance. Okay, so the bullseye had been over here in just about every days of data for who knows how long. It has now shifted just to west, just a hair. So that means the bullseye, the heaviest snow, is now over southeastern Kansas into southwestern Missouri. So not a huge change, but it's just a little bit of a nudge. And in a spot here, you're going to see about a foot of snow at the peak. Otherwise, the rest of the snowfall amounts are widespread. Good grief, 7, 8, 9 inches. And then, of course, tailors off once you get north of that and toward Nebraska and western Kansas, and, of course, Oklahoma, and then in Arkansas. Remember, you got ice down here, so most of your energy that you're going to use up in the atmosphere is converting to ice rather than the snow. So amounts obviously lighter there. We are having the wind to talk about, so winds up here in this area are up around 30 miles per hour for tomorrow morning. They will calm down a bit for the afternoon. Now, technically, a blizzard criteria is when winds around 35 miles per hour or more for 3 hours at a time. I don't know if we're going to make the 35 mile per hour wind, but for 3 hours or so, yeah, it will be windy, it'll be gusty, so it may just be under that criteria. But blowing snow will be the problem with that. So reduced visibilities all in this region, down to 1/4 mile, which is part of the requirements for a winter storm, for a blizzard. Speaking of which, here is our blowing snow impact scale. All right, so if you zoom in a little bit more, so that's all of this area. That's where you combine the winds with the significant amounts of snow. So that's Wichita, Joplin, Enid, down just about to Tulsa and Stillwater. And it's a minor impact. Inconvenience is what they call it. Well, if you can't see on the road, that's definitely inconvenient. If you go with a ground blizzard, it just means whatever snow's on the ground and just the wind blowing, it's very low. It just is, you're going to see some blowing snow, no big deal. When it calls for ice accumulation, also has a minor impact, but for the first time ever, there's a spot of orange right in that area I was talking about, and this may actually increase. This is a lagging indicator. In other words, it is not up to date with the models. It comes in, I think, about a 6-hour delay after the models have all been processed, and it'll probably bump up some of these areas here into the moderate impacts, and that just means more of a potential for a few power outage issues. Snow load, or in other words, where the snow is the heaviest, kind of favored in this region of southeastern Kansas and the far tip of Oklahoma, and of course the snow amount, well, tons of snow amount, so that's going to be here in the major impact level. So when you break down all the different threats of the winter storm, that's how you can divvy all that up to your liking. As we talked about, temperatures are going to be quite cold over the next few nights. We're talking about goose egg numbers down here in central Oklahoma. Your numbers will vary depending on where you are. You can use my free weather app. It's called AT's Weather to Go. You can get on Apple and Google Play, and you'll have your backyard forecast in there. You're going to need it for tornado season. It'll give you a heads up when tornadoes are developing, so definitely check that out. Temperatures will be recovering into the teens for the afternoon. Like I said, hopefully. I have my doubts on this one. Usually with precipitation on the ground, and the cold air that we're going to have, that'll be a struggle. I'm interested to see what happens. I think this will be a bust. I think 10 is the highest we can go, but we'll see what happens. Otherwise, we'll start to warm things up after that, and here we go. Here's Saturday, 43 degrees. That's looking pretty good. And then we're back into the, what? Does this just say what I think it just says? Hallelujah. Everybody break out your shorts. It's time to get your summer tan on. February 25th is the day. I'm loving it. 70 degrees. Bring it. So, but that is part of that roller coaster ride that we are in for as we transition out of winter into spring over the coming weeks. So that's good. I'm excited about that. And I meant to start off the show with this right here, and I totally forgot. I just want to show you how cold it was up here in Canada. Those poor babies. I only say babies. There's a big fight right now between apparently Canada and the U.S. So everybody's supposed to pick a side. I guess the hockey teams are going at it, according to all the clips I saw. But they're looking at minus 20 degrees for the cold temperatures right now, not even this morning. In other words, this is moderated. This is warmed up since the morning low. But this kind of is what to show you what's coming our way for the middle of the day. So these cold temperatures are sagging to the south, and the big brunt is already kind of coming in right here. So it doesn't have very long to go. It's just there's one barbed wire fence, 2 barbed wire fences, 3 barbed wire fences. It's not going to stop it. It's just going to blow right through it, and it's going to come and jack us all up. So anyway, so there you go. Cold wind blows here soon, and that is fresh off the heels from Siberia. So you can thank the Russians for that. I guess we're at war with the Russians. They're sending their coldest to pay us back. Let's see. Anything else I want to show you? Let me think here. I looked at this earlier. Let me see if I want to bring this up. This is just for me. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do this because I think it's important. Okay, so I look at weather data also in different ways. This is a vertical slice of the atmosphere, okay, from bottom to top. And I can look at how the thermodynamics will look like in the atmosphere. I can see all the ingredients that we saw on a map, two panel map, or come on, Aaron, 2-dimensional view. Everything's just kind of flattened. So we're gonna go vertical instead. All right, and now I want to look at the NAM. This is Oklahoma City. All right, so let's go in here. Okay, so what this tells me here at 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's see. Let's move this up. Yeah, you can see that. All right, so 5 o'clock in the morning, we have a warm nose right here. This is the freezing line, this guy right here. So we're to the right of the freezing line, which means we have warm air advection up above, which is fine. It's the cold air below. All right, this is our thin, shallow Arctic air mass. So obviously we're below freezing. So what this means is, if this is deep enough, you get ice pellets. If this is a little too thick and too far to the right, you get freezing rain. It's a battle. And we're gonna be in the borderline of both. So I wouldn't be surprised to have both mixed in for tomorrow morning here in central Oklahoma. You get a little bit of freezing rain, freezing drizzle, but then you're also getting some sleet. And so that's what ice pellets mean. But anyway, so we'll go through time here. So that one stays that way, and then boom, right there, right around noon. So it's got us in the profile for a mix of freezing rain and sleet through noon, and then it says it's cold enough for the entire profile to get all snow. Right? Because remember, our 0 degree line Celsius, in other words, our 32 degree line Fahrenheit is way up here, and everything is to the left of it, which means the whole atmosphere is below freezing at that point. All right, so that's good. All right, if you want snow. What else we have? Let's take a look at the moisture. Now, earlier when we looked at this, I showed you there's, by the way, T for time goes to the left, right to left, and we have all this dry air right here to overcome in the mid-levels at the beginning of the event. All right, so this is right here, this time frame right here is 6 a.m. up and down, vertical. Over here is 6 p.m. up and down, vertical. Okay, are you following me? Are you with me? So time from right to left. Okay, so you'll notice we get rid of the dry air and we start to finally moisten it up from above. Now above, right here, is the snow growth layer. So this is where we have our moisture inside the snow growth layer. That's good. And on top of that, you have these little red areas here. That's called omega. That's lift in the atmosphere. And we finally have a little bit of lift. It's not much, but it's a little. Most of our lift is down here in the lower levels, trapped in with the inversion of the front, and that's what's going to cause the very light freezing rain and some sleet precipitation. But it's not in the snow growth layer, which is up here, where we need it to get going on so that we could have a ton of snow. And that's why in Oklahoma City, you're just not going to get it. And that's why the model here goes orange, because it's going for that sleet mixture up to about 1/10 of an inch or so. And then it turns blue at lunchtime right here when it finally says, all right, we're cold enough at all levels of the atmosphere, and now we've got some of this more moisture coming down. So we're going to start to throw some snow your way, and we're going to pile it up for you. And depending on which model you use, I showed you the one. This one here has about 1 inch of snow for Oklahoma City, so it means that's a midpoint. So south of there it's a little less, north of there is a little more in this model data. But anyway, so that's what's going on here in Oklahoma City. And this can be extrapolated a little bit from around the area to kind of give you an idea of why we're getting that mix. Now, if you go up around Tulsa, for example, they're different. They're in an environment that's much colder. So let me show you that again. Let's go back here. All right, so let's go, where's Tulsa? Right here. Okay, so this is 9 a.m. Let's go back. 5 a.m. Okay, so here's 5 a.m. Remember when things are starting to break out? 5 a.m., 4 a.m. Actually, it's 3 a.m. now in the newer data, but I'm using the older data here from the NAM just for this illustration purposes. And here is that freezing line right here. So it's all left. All right, so in theory, it should be all snow for Tulsa. All right, and then as you go through time, it stays left of that line. right, all the way. So this particular model says, forget the freezing rain, drizzle, and sleet. I'm just going to give you all snow. And when it does that, it cranks up your snowfall totals to around 4 inches. All right, so if I turn that snow measurement off and we look at it, you have a lot of lift in lower levels. Okay, all the little reds, omega. You have your snow growth layer up here, and you have a lot of moisture in that snow growth layer. Look at all that. Plus, you have a lot of omega sneaking in here, especially here toward the end. That's where your best, heavier snowfall is going to be, is in your late afternoon and evening for Tulsa. So this, definitely, you're going to get several inches of snow with this type of a look. So you're not starving for moisture. Your moisture was a little anemic here at midnight to the early daybreak hours, but it quickly is overcome at 6 a.m. So that's why looks like you're going to have a better opportunity for collective snow. Now, let me see. I can pull. Did I do? I did not. So let's do this. I'm gonna pull this live. We're gonna see what happens when I pull in the new HER. The HER is what I used a little earlier for our maps. Oh, you didn't pull it up? Why would you do that? Let's try this again. It gave me Dallas. So it's great, but I don't want Dallas. I want Oklahoma. Let's try this again. Don't be looking at my secrets. Don't you be taking notes. Why are you such a turd? Okay, it was just starting to get Tulsa. Come on, you can do it. You got this. Okay, no, you don't got this. Why you gotta be like this on the fly? Copy, exit. One more time. I'll go somewhere else if this keeps up. Or not got it all. Come on. Oh, lame. I don't know why you're being a turd. Who else gives me the HER? Because they're not giving it to me. Hold that thought. Talks amongst yourselves. So I was going Meteo. Still Meteo. Meteo, Argonne. You got anything? No. I wonder if I could add you though. Let me see. No, it won't, because I got to do it per time. Oh. Bullocks. Isn't that a European term? It might be a curse word. I don't know. I'm not familiar with cursing overseas. Anyway, it ain't going to give it to me. What a turd. Anyway, I was just hoping to get some of the newer data that came in to kind of drive this point home, but see if they change just a little based off the other newer data. But I won't be able to do that, so that's okay. I gave it a shot. Sorry I let you down. Maybe next time. I tried. I sat there and pressed the button 5 times. Okay, so let me think. Anything else? So highlights, in case you just tuned in late, you missed the whole thing, and you want to know what was going on. Winter storm's coming, obviously. Starts tonight around 3 o'clock in the morning. Looks like is when things ought to get kicked off here in central Oklahoma. It will be a mixture of a little bit of freezing rain and drizzle for several hours up through lunchtime, it looks like, roughly. Then there will be the transition to all snow. Now, there will be probably occasionally some snowflakes, flurries mixed in, in the earlier part of the morning in these areas. But the transition will gradually happen from north to south. In other words, you'll be all snow in Kansas and all snow in the far northern counties of Oklahoma after a little touch of ice. Then it's all snow for the rest of your morning, and it kind of just progresses southward with time, right? And then the snow exits the state by midnight. You got a widespread area of glaze of ice. Anything that might be heavy enough for power outage related will be far eastern Oklahoma and I-40 up toward Fort Smith area, and on the other side of the border, kind of in that area, in southwestern Arkansas. Otherwise, just a travel auto hockey nuisance. And then snowfall amounts, when all's said and done. Of course, these are always fun to predict, but because we waste a lot of our precipitation on the ice and some sleet and that kind of stuff in the morning, we get less snow in the afternoon. So right now, an inch of snow, Oklahoma City, maybe a half inch down there around Norman, and then you're looking at about, maybe if we're lucky, 1.5 or 2 inches around the Edmond area. So that's the gradient we're looking at here. And it gets progressively more snow the more north you go. So by the time you're in Stillwater, it's like 3+ inches. By the time you're out toward Tulsa, now you're at 4+ inches. And by the time you're into Bartlesville, now you're at 8+ inches. And you're about a foot in southeastern Kansas and southwest Missouri. So that's kind of how it breaks down. And there'll be winds up around 30 miles per hour. Might be gust occasional, higher than that. So it might not quite reach blizzard criteria, but it'll be good blowing snow criteria. So reduced visibilities when you're driving around, especially in northern Oklahoma and the rest of Kansas and Missouri for tomorrow. Okay, I think that was everything. And then, of course, the brutal cold. It is life-threatening, so make sure that you take serious, bundle up. Do not leave your skin exposed. It takes about half an hour, and you'll get frostbite. If you don't know what frostbite is, do it once and see what happens. You'll never forget what it is, and you may not get your appendage back, so it'll be a hard lesson to learn. Or you can just listen to me and bundle up everything head to toe. Only thing that should be exposed are these, and you don't even have to expose those. You could probably get you some goggles or glasses. But anyway, that way you stay safe from that. And that's the problem that we're going to have for a couple days. So Tuesday and Wednesday and into Thursday morning, then the winds die off and temperatures do improve, so we're good after that. But it's just going to be cold, and that's about it. So we'll do another live tonight around 9:30 when the newer data comes in to see if anything's changed. But so far, all we're doing is just some very slight massaging, if that. Otherwise, everything hasn't really changed. The story's still the same, which is good. If you like winter storms, well, here's one for you. Spring's right around the corner. So for those that don't like it, hang in there. All right. Again, thanks again for liking, subscribing to all the social media platforms, and not just doing that, but actually subscribing to my content. And that's a different way to use subscribe. In other words, you got to be a member for that. And there's plenty of opportunity. You can do that on my social media outlets. You should be seeing some links for that. It basically takes you to my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com, and then that way you can pick your platform. It can be Facebook fan subscriptions. It can be YouTube memberships. It can be Patreon. It can be TikTok, it can be Instagram, and let's see, what am I missing? You can do PayPal, you can do Venmo, so there's some other options on there. And the links are directly on my site. Don't click anything else. They're like labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Matter of fact, let me just show you this, because I had I think 3 people, 3 out of however many it's been, that says, hey, let's see, is this, I signed up. Is this you? And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I don't even know where you even are. So that's a problem. So let me show you what's going on here. All right, so on my website, I'm on the blog tab. I go over here to news and hit blog. That's one way to do it. It's just the third post down. And it's got the link to this third post is in the other 2 posts, in those recent blogs. All right, so if you go over here, you see this right here? Subscription, support options. And there's no ads here. There's nothing to click on. You cannot miss this. All right, this is dummy proof. If there's something here, it's on your device. In other words, you got malware. You got something else happening. But if you click either one of these links right here, it is directly to the actual platform, which has, that takes you to my account, which has a sign up thing on it. So it should not be taking you anywhere else. And if it doesn't say AT's weather, wherever you're going, I don't know where you are. I don't know how you got there. But if you stick with this, then you should have no problem and not get scammed by whatever's running around out there that's affect just a couple of people. And then off down here, you also have the Venmo and the Zelle too if you want to do that. But it's all on my website at AaronTuttleWeather.com. You can sign up. So this website, by the way, yes, I'm putting it behind the paywall. So that means your blogs and the information will only be available if you're with me on this new journey. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the love. And here's the common thing I've had everyone say. And it was good to see, honestly, because I just really wasn't for sure. And but the number one thing I got was, are you ready? It's about time. And I said, excuse me? Yeah, it's about time. And I was like, it is about time. So, hey, it's about time. So then with that, I'll send you on your way. You guys have a great rest of your day. And be safe if I don't talk to you tonight. And hopefully you make it out in the winter storm. And protect your pipes. Let that water run Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Because otherwise they may freeze. All right, talk soon. Take care.